Hello, everybody. I hope y'all are still staying safe and healthy and inside. It's still really weird not being on campus, but what can you do? So my paper is titled Simply the Best: How Schitt's Creek Portrays Gay Relationships and Class on Television. So it's obviously about the show Schitt's Creek, which, if y'all haven't seen, highly recommend it. It's a great show. But a quick little synopsis. Schitt's Creek is about a family who's extremely wealthy, but they end up losing everything and are forced to live in a small town called Schitt's Creek. So the show is really about a group of people who is learning to become a family when forced in this situation. So Schitt's Creek can be examined through two different lenses. It can be looked at through class and through queer theory. So I want to go to just a quick little description of those two concepts first. Class is social division that's based on economic status. Class in itself is economic, but the way that it's lived is cultural. Taste is an important aspect of class, especially in my paper. Taste is used as a classifier of differences and is a habitus, meaning it's a natural feeling for some people. Habitus can be shaped by past experiences, family upbringing, or class, and is essentially a person's preferences or dislikes that help them orient themselves to the social world. Meritocracy is another way to look at inequality. It basically suggests that if you work hard enough, you'll succeed. But in reality, that's not always the case. Class position can affect someone's success a lot. Queer theory is the other lens that I'm using to analyze Schitt's Creek. Queer theory explores the relationship between members of the LGBTQIA+ community and the world that surrounds them. So queer theory breaks down labels and stereotypes that harm marginalized individuals. It would be unfair to talk about Schitt's Creek without talking about the fans and the fandom, so I want to go over fandoms just a little bit. Fans are more than just the average consumer. Fans have their own social communities that are typically not defined by gender, race, social status, political views, or anything like that, but rather are shaped by an appreciation and a love for one specific thing. Sometimes the social aspects of fandoms are even more important than the actual content. So now that there's a quick background of the concepts, I'll get into my Schitt's Creek analysis. So first I want to look at class relations in Schitt's Creek because class is a major plot point. Taste can be seen throughout the show in many ways. One is just in the way that the Roses dress compared to the rest of the town. You can see that they dress extravagantly and sometimes quite elegantly. Moira is probably the most well-dressed. She has an extensive wig collection, and so her look is always changing. But even the way she talks is fancy.
What you did was impulsive, capricious, and melodramatic, but it was also wrong.
In season 1, episode 10, Honeymoon, Roland and Jocelyn Schitt are throwing their annual Hawaiian party. Moira and Johnny find out about the party and ask why they weren't invited, and Jocelyn explains that she thought Johnny and Moira may be too hoity-toity for their party, but eventually she ends up inviting them. A few scenes later, Moira and Johnny show up to the super casual background party in semi-formal clothes, which shows a clear divide between the Roses' expectations for a party and an actual Schitt's Creek party. This can be explained through habitus. Bordeaux, 1984, mentions that familiar items such as clothes create a sense of belonging. So their clothing choices are a way to connect them back to their previous luxurious lives and provide a sense of security and comfort. They're familiar with this lifestyle, so in their mind, those clothes are correct and appropriate to wear. There's another moment in the show that can be explained through the habitus. In season 2, episode 13, Happy Anniversary, Johnny and Moira go to a restaurant in Elmdale, which is a nearby town. And while they're there, they run into some old upper-class friends. And they start to reconnect, catch up a little bit, and then Roland and Jocelyn show up. And they're like, hey, can we sit with you? And they're like, yeah, I guess, sure, whatever. So the 6 of them end up sitting and eating together, which is a really unique mixing of worlds. You have the Rose's really rich upper class friends, the Roses who are kind of in between these two worlds, and then the Schitts who don't have a whole lot. So it's a really interesting dynamic between the 6 of them.
What do you do, Roland?
Something in agriculture, by the looks of it?
Roland is actually the mayor of our town.
Oh.
Not Schittsville, I hope.
What do you even call someone from Schittsville? A shitter? A shithead?
Okay, you know what?
John.
Don't worry, Moira. I won't say anything untoward.
We're just having fun, John.
And I thought we were having fun, Bev, but you know what? We're not.
Eventually, Johnny sticks up for Roland, which shows a real character development for him and a changing in his habitus. It's the first real point that Johnny begins to see Roland and Jocelyn not only as the norm, but as friends. Class movement can also be seen several times in Schitt's Creek. It can be examined through meritocracy, which suggests that anyone can climb the social ladder if they just work hard enough. At the surface level, Schitt's Creek does kind of confirm meritocracy, but if you look deeper, you realize that that isn't exactly true. Alexis and David do start their own very successful businesses from scratch with their own money, but because of their life experience and the connections they've made, that has definitely helped them get to where they are. So now to move on to what Schitt's Creek is probably most well known for, and that's the gay relationships in the show. The town of Schitt's Creek is super accepting and understanding, which allows for multiple storylines of gay relationships and characters. The most notable and well-known of these characters is David Rose, who is pansexual. In the first season, David sleeps with Stevie, the motel receptionist, and the next day she's really confused because she thought that David was gay. So they go on to explain pansexuality in a really memorable and I think pretty unique and great way.
So, just to be clear, I'm a red wine drinker.
That's fine.
Okay, cool, but I only drink red wine.
Okay.
And up until last night, I was under the impression that you too only drank red wine. But I guess I was wrong.
I see where you're going with this. I do drink red wine, but I also drink white wine.
Oh.
And I've been known to sample the occasional rosé. And a couple summers back, I tried a Merlot that used to be a Chardonnay, which got a bit complicated.
Okay, yeah, so you're just really open to all wines.
I like the wine and not the label. Does that make sense?
So this is actually the first time that David ever mentions his sexuality. There was no big coming out episode. They just treated it super casually, which was refreshing to see. In season 3, David meets Patrick Brewer. Patrick is a businessman, and he's helping David incorporate his business. Their relationship starts off totally professional, but it becomes pretty clear to everybody except for David that Patrick is flirting with him. Patrick ends up taking David out to dinner for David's birthday, and they share a goodnight kiss, which is the start of their relationship. So I want to examine a few moments of their relationship specifically. We read earlier in the semester about the gay kiss on television in Martin 2014. He acknowledges that there are differences between gay and straight relationships on television. Typically, gay characters are not shown openly in their relationship, but in Schitt's Creek, gay relationships are treated the same as any other relationship. They show visible hugs, kisses, open affection, and that affection isn't just physical, but it's also in public acts of emotional affection, such as when Patrick is serenading David with a cover of Tina Turner's The Best at an open mic night, which is one of the best moments of the show and a real turning point for the show.
All right, I would like to dedicate this song to a very special someone in my life. David Rose.
Okay.
There he is. Right there. That's him. Can't miss him.
You'll let me know if I should pull the fire alarm?
Yes. I call you when I need you, my heart's on fire. You come to me, wild and wired. You come to me and give me everything I need. Give me a lifetime of promises and a world of dreams. Speak the language of love like you know what it means. And it can't be wrong. Take my heart and make it strong, babe.
One of the biggest moments in David and Patrick's relationship happens in season 5, episode 11, Meet the Parents. In this one, I'm going to be playing quite a few clips because that's really the best way to get the message across. But in this episode, David is throwing Patrick a surprise birthday party, and as part of the surprise, he invites Patrick's parents to attend in Schitt's Creek. The Brewers check into the motel and actually meet Johnny first. They exchange pleasantries, and Johnny mentions something about David and Patrick's relationship.
You know, mixing a business relationship and a romantic relationship, well, that can get kind of tricky sometimes.
I missed the last part of what you just said.
Oh, well, you were aware they were in business together as well, right?
We knew that part, yes.
So Johnny accidentally outed Patrick to his parents. And Johnny ran to David to see what was up because they all assumed that Patrick's parents knew. And this was really the one moment that caused any drama around a gay relationship in the entire show. So David asked Patrick if his parents knew about them, and Patrick says that they don't.
David, I know my parents are good people. I just... I can't shake this fear that there's a small chance that this could change everything. That they might see me differently or treat me differently. I'm gonna deal with this as soon as I see them next, okay?
Okay, what you're dealing with is very personal. And it's something you should only do on your terms. Okay? That's why I brought this couple home one day in college and just told my parents to deal with it.
David goes to see the Brewers at the motel to apologize about how things happened and tries to calm them down because he's worried that they're upset.
I just wanted to come here and apologize for a very unfortunate miscommunication.
So you're not in a relationship with our son?
Oh, no, I very much am.
Oh.
I was talking more about how you found out.
Was it something we did, David?
Sorry?
Honey, stop.
No, I want to ask. Do you think if we'd done things differently, that Patrick would still...
I understand that this news can come as a shock to some people, but he is still the same person, and it's his birthday. And
David, we're not upset about Patrick being gay.
No.
Oh my God. For a minute, I thought this was gonna get very dark.
Well, the thought that Patrick was feeling like he couldn't come and talk to us about this...
Is it because we were so close with Rachel?
It's important to mention that David and Patrick are not the only queer characters in Schitt's Creek. Ronnie is a lesbian woman of color, and Jake is a polyamorous person who ends up dating both Stevie and David at the same time. Schitt's Creek is open to showing relationships of all varieties. Oftentimes, shows will portray gay characters as the butt of a joke or with a tragic storyline, and viewers just come to accept that gay characters will end up with problems.
Gay people, queer people have been so accustomed to seeing queer love stories met with tragedy that to put out the idea that this love story would be nothing but a love story and that we were not going to show the other side, we were not going to fan the flames of anyone that would question it.
Schitt's Creek defies these expectations and shows characters who are not afraid to be themselves. And I don't want to spoil the whole series, but I'll just say that the show does end with a happy ending. So finally, the fans of Schitt's Creek. Schitt's Creek has a huge impact on fans, especially those within the LGBTQIA community. There are pages upon pages of Schitt's Creek related products on Etsy, fan pages, fan arts, dedicated license plates, and even Schitt's Creek themed drag shows. Fisky 1992 suggests that fans report that the thing they are fans of gives them confidence to be able to stand up for themselves, and this is true for Schitt's Creek fans. It has inspired many people to come out to their parents and has helped parents accept their kids, and has just been a source of positivity for so many people. I'm a member of a group on Facebook called Schitt's Creek Fans Shoot the Shit, which is also spelled SCHITT. They actually raised over $3,000 to buy the cast cupcakes and cards on the final day of filming, and then they donated the rest of the money to the LGBT youth line. This group is just a really safe space for the fans of the show to talk about the show and the themes, and it's a really good environment. I asked the group which episodes they thought were best to communicate queer theory or class relationships, and I received over 100 comments in less than 24 hours. I want to highlight a few of the responses from members of this group. One member responded, "As a gay person, the episode where Patrick came out to his family, for me, was one of the most impactful. Showing a coming out story in that way was so truly unique and touching. It's not the typical approach, and it was something that would have been life-changing for me to see on TV when I was younger." Another user said, "This is why we love the show. Being a member of the LGBTQ community is such a non-issue for everyone in this small town." So it's pretty clear that this show means a lot to a lot of people. In addition to the impact that Schitt's Creek has on members of the LGBTQIA community, it's also had a sort of schadenfreude for viewers because it ultimately shows the downfall of a pretentious, wealthy family. Dan Levy has even said that part of the inspiration for the show was wondering what would happen to the Kardashians if they lost all their wealth. People find enjoyment in watching people with power become less powerful, and this fall from power was even a turning point for the Roses and their likability. So, Schitt's Creek is meaningful to so many people. Family sitcoms usually portray a nuclear family that's conservative and focuses on the status quo, and Schitt's Creek just totally flips those expectations upside down. The show takes the classic rags to riches storyline and makes it about people becoming a family, and one that shows love and acceptance no matter what.